thanks for joining me in the studio today. I got a request for a full springboard class. So today I'm going to be doing a live instruction springboard class for those of you that have springboards at home and want to follow along with the class rather than just watching springboard demonstrations. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin today warming up the core, doing a rollback series. So we're going to place our rollback bar on the springs and we're going to start at a level 8. So that's 8 counting up from the bottom if your springboard isn't numbered. So we're going to turn facing our springboard, bringing the feet in towards the springboard, keeping the legs parallel, toes facing straight up. We're going to go ahead and grab onto our rollback bar and we're going to begin C-curving through the spine from our lower region. So we're going to tip the pubic bone forward, scoop and hollow out the abdominals to begin the C-curve rather than just starting here and slouching back. Really actively pulling in and up. We're going to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Lengthening, inhaling here at the bottom, and exhale, we'll tuck our chin in towards our chest and tuck that pubic bone forward, low back pressing into the mat as we roll forward through that C-curve, one vertebrae at a time. As we come forward, we're going to reach into the springboard, and then we're going to stack up, just stretching through the legs here, through the body, and then we're going to stack up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Now, as you're going through this rollback series, continue exhale through the movement. So exhale as you roll back. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, peeling forward one vertebrae at a time. Stretch it forward and stack up through the spine. As we continue this movement, some things to think about are to keep the arms as straight as possible. The more that you bend in through your arms, the more the work becomes about the arms and the less about the core. So keeping those arms nice and straight. Imagine here that you're holding on to the reins of the horse and you're staying nice and straight and they're pulling you. Also pay attention to the wrists. Make sure that you don't get any weird bending or breaking, but try to have a nice straight line through your arm and through the wrist. Exhale as we roll forward, stretching, lengthening towards the springboard and stacking up through the spine. You may find that that stretch gets deeper as you move along. We're articulating through the spine, coming down one vertebrae at a time as we roll back. And then we're lifting and peeling the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Paying attention to the neck, making sure not to have any unnecessary tension there, but work through the core and try to relieve as much tension there as possible. Now let's take the right foot into the right corner of our springboard. Left foot, we're going to cross over top, nice and long. The hips are still square and facing forward rather than turning off to the side. And we're going to get a little bit into the obliques here. We're going to roll back, same way we did before. Sorry, my foot is making noise on the mat. Lengthening out. And exhale, coming forward, feeling this stretch in a different place with our legs in this position. Stacking up through the spine, nice and tall. And exhale, scoop and hollow through the abdominals. Coming back, we're going to take just 3 on each side here. Exhale as we're peeling up. And we'll move through this work pretty quickly today, reaching forward, stacking up nice and tall, and one more. Lengthening, and exhale, peeling forward, stretching, stacking up through the spine. What we do to one side, we must do to the other. Left foot comes into the left corner, right foot crosses over top. Exhale, rolling back, nice long legs, stretching away, lengthening out. Exhale, peel up and lifting forward, and stacking up through the spine, and rolling down. Sorry, because I am talking live, you may hear some background noise going on. I can't remember if you've done 2 or 3. I'll do another one. And rolling back. Exhale, lifting forward. And And stacking up through the spine. While we're at it, let's get a little bit deeper in those abdominals. We're going to bring the feet here. Knees are in line with the hips. Knees are in line with the toes, facing forward here. And we're going to roll back onto our shoulder blades right here, keeping the head, neck, and shoulders lifted up. And we're going to exhale as we pull forward, bar coming past the knees, and then roll right back down. Little mini roll-ups right here. Exhale, lift. Staying in that place where we're engaging those muscles. Nice straight arms. Engage through that transverse abdominis. Rolling down. And back. Let's take 2 more here. And back. And bring it the whole way forward. Next, we're going to move on working through the arms. We're going to drop down to level 5. Again, counting up through on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And take that roll back bar off. And placing some hand straps on. For this arm work, we're going to be kneeling, facing the springboard. Now you can decide what amount of tension is right for you here. The further you come from the springboard, the more you're going to be pulling away. The closer you come, the less. So after the first exercise, you may want to adjust. We're going to start with the chest expansion. So we're going to think about being really open through the sternum here. A lot of people, when they come into this, they'll want to use their shoulders to press forward to help. We're going to roll those shoulders down and back. And think about your shoulder blades here resting down on your rib cage. Keep them there and think about opening through the chest. Palms facing backward here. We'll inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, we're going to press back, clearing past the hips and returning forward. Exhale, press. Inhale, return. Continuing right here. Now, if at any time you're feeling this in the middle of your low back, you may need to adjust your pelvic position and tuck in and under a little bit. So if you're kind of swayed like this, now I'm feeling it in my back. We want to tuck in. We're going to feel in our arms, particularly in our triceps. And we want to feel in our core as well. So use that core to work here. Engage and stay tucked in rather than letting it come into the back. So always, always protect the back. You shouldn't feel any pinching or any tough spots there in the low back. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. Continuing here. You can take this at your own pacing. That's comfortable to match your breath. Let's go for 3 more. And 2. And 1. Good. Now we're going to change our angle and go into the airplane. We're going to float our arms off to the side and press back here. You may find that you're not reaching back quite as far. It's definitely harder at this angle. Let's go for 3 more. And 2. And 1. Thinking about your way out resistance, matching your resistance on the way back, so we never just push and let it come back in. We never want those springs to snap in. We're consistent with the way out and the way in. We're going to turn around now, so we'll switch those straps. And we're going to walk out here and go into bicep curls. Rolling those shoulders, again, down and back. Reach the arms back and away. We're going to exhale as we curl in. Inhale, return. Keeping those palms facing forward. So just facing up to the ceiling, they're not taking a different position. And bringing out. If you want some more resistance, step out a little bit more. And release back the whole way straight. And release. Release, making sure to keep those shoulders pulled back as much as possible. Let's go for 4 more here. And 2. And 1. Right here, let's step those knees out and away. Coming towards the end of my mat, I'm going to roll those shoulders down and back and allow my body to stretch out with the springs pulling my arm backwards. If you're really tight through the chest and upper back, you're kind of hunched forward all the time, this will feel really good and is nice for addressing that posture. You can stay here. You can also sink it down. Bring your bum down onto the hips, bending forward and lowering your head towards the floor while the springs are lifting your arms out and up. Breathing deeply. You can also turn your palms facing up to the ceiling and get a little nice rest pose stretch here. And breathing deeply, sinking into it. And take as much time here as you'd like. Next, we're going to be working through the abdominals with the feet-in straps. So rather than be using our hands while we're doing this ab work, we'll do something a little different. So if you have a separate foot strap, some of you may have a strap that's got the handle and the place for the foot on one. I've got a separate foot strap on here. I've got ones with padding that are a little bit more comfortable coming across the ankle. So I'm going to take the foot strap, put my foot the entire way through it, and the padding is coming here at the back of my ankle. Okay, from here, I'm going to back up and I'm going to take my head to the end of my mat, which is a good gauge for where you want to be right here. I'm going to take my hands back behind my head and keep my elbows out wide. Trying to keep my chin tucked in, gaze straight above me in the ceiling, or looking forward. So I'm going to float my knees up into tabletop, and I'm going to focus on keeping a neutral pelvis, so I don't want my spine to be moving back and forth while I'm taking these movements right here. And now on my exhalation, I'm going to draw my knees in like a reverse crunch and come right back out to tabletop. My pelvis isn't shifting here while I'm doing this. I'm trying to hold it in that place, and I'm using those deep lower abdominal muscles right here. If you're doing this along with me, you are surely feeling this as well. Exhale. Inhale and release. Exhale. Let's take 4 more right here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're going to get into the obliques. I'm going to take my knees and turn them to the right, coming out to the side, and now I'm squeezing in from the side. Two more. From here, rotating to the other side, knees coming off to the left, drawing in. Good, taking the knees back to the center. Now, rather than holding this tabletop position, I'm going to let my toes come in a little bit. Kind of bending in. And we're going to go into a little bit of a can-can movement. So I'm going to twist my knees to the right, to the left, to the right. And here, I'm going to give it a squeeze in. Now, opposite way, to the left, to the right, to the left, squeeze in. So every 3, you'll pull the knees in. If that feels like too much, then just stay here back and forth. Good. So we're twisting through the spine. The abdominals are definitely working. options here. You can also bring the toes down to the mat and twist off here. If you want to get a deeper twist through the spine, and then just lift off and pull in. I like both ways, just fine. Zip those knees together. And I'm going to go one more. Left, right, left. So if you go in threes, you'll be on a different side each time. Good. From here, we're going to float the knees up into tabletop. And now we're going to lift that chest and crunch forward, bringing the elbows in towards the knees. So both the knees pulling and the elbows. And then I'm going to come back out and fully open up, arms coming out wide. I'm talking less here, but I'm still here with ya. Let's take 3 more. Strong exhale, pull in, inhale, release, and 1, exhaling on the exertion. Now we're going to do a little variation of the crisscross, bringing the left foot down to the floor. Right leg remains up in tabletop. I'm going to peel off my left shoulder, and I'm going to think about taking my elbow beyond the knee, not just bringing it to the knee, but I'm going to think about coming beyond, and I'm also going to pull that knee in past my elbow. And as I rotate back down, I'm going to switch my legs midair, or if that's too much, you can simply bring one down and lift the other. And I'm going to come the other way, peeling off my right shoulder blade, squeezing the left leg in, switch it down, come to the other side. Keep a nice steady flow of breath. Don't hold it here. Let's take 1 more on each side. Good, and bringing down. We can go ahead and sit forward, remove those straps. And we're going to go next into the hands. So we're going to keep our springs at a level 5, nice and easy switches for you. And I'm going to put my hand straps back on. So if your hand and feet straps differ, switching out here, because we're working into the arms. Okay, I'm going to sit cross-legged right here. And I'm going to be sitting with my side to the springboard. I'm going to take that spring that's in front of me to begin with, and we're going to work through some internal and external rotation of the arm. So I'm going to start with my inside arm and do some internal rotation. So I'm going to move out from the springboard. When I switch arms, I'm going to scoot in because there's going to be way more resistance and it'll be harder to open this way. So right here, I'm going to pull my elbow in towards the body. And I'm going to maintain this line of my arm. I want to think about this being like a door that's opening, and I'm just hinging back and forth this way. So I'm going to exhale, sweep in, inhale, open. Really watch that wrist. People tend to like pull in and change things with the wrist. Try to keep it unbroken and straight, rotating from right here. Sitting up nice and tall. If this is a real struggle for you, you might want to take your springs up a little bit higher and sit on a yoga block. If it's hard for you to sit up nice and tall, we don't want to slouch through here and put pressure in the back. Inhale, releasing back. Nice, intentional movement, getting deep into those muscles, rotating all these small muscles that are stabilizing through your shoulder. And really important for keeping strong so you can avoid injury. Intentional movement, stay focused. Let's take 2 more. And 1. Opening out. Good, now we're going to switch hands. Outside arm is going to come here. And I'm going to scoot in. I'm going to sit close enough that I can touch the springboard. And in fact, I'm going to use my hand to make sure I don't lean over and cheat. I'm going to push myself straight up, either with a flat hand or with fingertips here. Now I'm going to take an external rotation, so I'm going to bring that elbow in close. Same thing with my arm, and I'm just going to take this like it's a door on a hinge, opening out and coming back in. So our focus here is on that external rotation, opening and returning. Let's take 2 more. And 1. From here, little change of arm position. I'm going to lift my elbow so it's about in line with my shoulder. And I'm going to pull the elbow back and away and return. I'm just rotating back through there, using the pull of the spring. Nice healthy movement of the shoulder. And 2 more here. All right, I'm going to turn my back to you for a minute because we're going to work both sides. Switching out, again, I'm starting with that internal rotation with the spring that's in front of me. So I'm going to want more weight pulling out this way, and when I switch arms to my outside, I'll come in closer. Pull that elbow in tight, nice straight lines, and I'm going to rotate in across my body and open out. Of course, it feels different here because this is the side that we've worked the most as we're switching over. Think about your posture here, rolling the shoulders down and back. Make sure you're not squeezing up here into this motion. Try to pull all of that tension out of the neck and the shoulders, and we're concentrating and isolating on this arm. You'll feel other muscles working to stabilize as well. Three more. Good, don't rush the movement, work with the springs, switching hands to the outside, scooting in, hand to the springboard. Now right here, I'm crossed over, elbow is tight, opening out. Let's go 3 more. And 2. And 1. Changing position of the arm. Palm is still facing in towards you. Elbow up high. And draw back. Not a huge movement here. Two more. Last one. Okay, I'm really taking a focus on the arms today, so we're going to do more arms. We're going to take the springs and drop them down to a level 2. We're going to turn out away from the springboard. So we're going to sit cross-legged, and you'll be able to find your place of tension, and it might change from one exercise to the next, seeing when you need to come out further for more weight, when you need to come back in. So I'm going to cross my legs, hinge slightly at the waist, and I'm going to bring my elbows in tight towards the body, go into the offering with the palms facing up. We're going to reach the arms straight out and draw back in, pulling those elbows back. and drawing back in. It's almost as if you have a big tray of cookies that you're pressing out. So keeping those palms facing up like you've got something sitting on top of them, bringing it into the body and reaching it out, offering it to someone across the room. Cookie. I could go for a cookie right now. Exhale and inhale as we draw in. Exhale, press and extend down. Inhale, draw back into the body. Let's go for 3 more here. And 2. And keeping those shoulders down, make sure as it gets tough through the arms that you're not bringing it up here. And draw in. Next, we're going to shave the head. We're going to bring our hands up. We're going to take our thumbs together and our fingers together at the base of our head. And it's like we're shaving off the back of our head, pressing out and up. Exhale on that press. If you feel really uneven, make sure that you're lined up with the midline of your springboard and you're not sitting crazy off to one side so that one spring's way heavier. If you have your mat lined up with your springboard, you'll be able to see if you're off to the side on your mat. You may have one arm that it feels harder to do this because one arm is stronger. Your arms are working independently on the springs, but we want to keep them in line and together. So you're going to feel dominance. Your dominant arm working here, and that's okay. Springboard is going to help you to be even through your body so you can feel at your best. Let's take one more. And bring down. Let's turn and face the springboard. Legs out long, and you can either have your feet against the springboard or you can add some resistance by backing up a bit. We're going to keep the palms facing each other, and we're going to row back right here. You can even lean back and away, little C curve through the spine, or you can sit up straight, whichever feels good. Again, watch those shoulders. Make sure they don't creep up to the ears. Think about rolling them down and back all the time. If you're familiar with Pilates instructors, you have probably had one that's talked to you about pulling your shoulders down and back, right? Let's go into a little stretch. This time we're going to roll back, and then we're going to fold forward, just bringing those springs straight out, stretching through the hamstrings. And again, reaching out and stretching. You're going to get noise through your springs as they come together into that stretch. Just make sure you don't let them go and let them fly. You can imagine what would happen with these high density springs if you just let them go. And back. And one final stretch forward. Really fold in. Enjoy the stretch right here. And again, if you're up here, no problem. That's okay. If you're up here with the stretch, that's okay. This is your body. The more consistently that you stretch and work at it, the more you'll get where you want to go. All right. It's time for feet in straps, everybody's favorite time of the day. So, if you're a little bit taller, you can come up higher. I'm going to come to a nice even place, a level 5 on my springboard. You may be between 5 and 7 here. If you're way taller and need a little bit more, then you can adjust there. So I'm not worried about super high tension. I'm worried about the motion of the legs here. So coming up to a level 5. I'm going to take my foot straps off. Or my hand straps off and put on my foot once again. Coming and laying down. Depending on the version of your springboard, you may have a bar there that you can hold on to. Mine doesn't. So as I roll back, usually when I do feet and straps, I press up with my hands just underneath and I just keep my elbows out nice and wide. Helps me to keep my chest open. A reminder here while we're working in foot and straps to keep that pelvis and spine neutral. So as we're moving, we don't want the back to be swaying and getting air constantly when we're moving around, but we're keeping nice and steady. And I'm lined up straight with my board. I'm going to start with an external rotation of my feet. So my feet are coming into a V. My heels are together. When I do this, my toes turn out. My knees also turn out, but no longer facing me. They're facing out to the side. And my hips open up as well. So I'm going to bring my legs down towards a 45-degree angle. And from here, I'm going to bend in my knees. Now when I do so, I'm going to think about not taking it really far and off to the side here, but keeping my knees in a V as well, about the width of my shoulders, and maintaining that V through my feet. So I'm going to press straight out and drawing in. Now this isn't a dolphin here where we dive down and scoop out. This, we're just taking a frog where we push straight out, legs zipped together, and draw back in. So it's like a plie on your back. That's what's happening with your legs. We're going to draw back in, and they're going to zip up from the ankle all the way up, and bringing back in. Good. Exhale as you press and extend. Inhale, returning down. And drawing back down. My feet are flexed here as well. And I'm really pushing out through the palms of my feet, straight out across the room, and drawing back down. We're going to add on here, so I'll press out to 45 degrees. I'm going to lift my legs up to 90 degrees, straight out of my hips, and I'm going to bend back down, reset. Pressing out, lifting up, bending down, pressing out, lifting up, and bending down. One more this way, pressing out, zip the legs together, one solid piece lifting up, and coming down. Now I'm going to reverse, push the legs straight, lower down to 45 degrees, and bend in. Press the legs straight up overhead, lower down, and bend in. This might be really challenging if your hamstrings are super tight, trying to straighten out as much as possible. Do your best. Pressing up. Pilates is all about practice and not perfection. Precision is an important element of Pilates. We want things to be precise. We want to pay attention to what we're doing. But precision doesn't mean perfection. We're just striving to be precise and focused on our movement. Lifting up, bringing down. Good. From here, we're going to rotate our feet in parallel, and I'm going to adjust my straps a little bit in that movement. Sometimes they shift slightly. So we're going to bring back in parallel. So now my feet are together like this. My knees are facing towards me, and my hips are closed off when I'm in a parallel position with my legs. I'm going to lift my legs up to 90 degrees, and I'm going to go into a scissor. So I'm going to lower one leg down towards the mat, lifting back up, and then the other one comes down. You can stay right here, moving one leg at a time, or you can join me in some pacing, which I'll be going into in just a second, where we cross the legs midair. So I'm going to go right, and I'm going to scissor switch right here. Good, keeping the legs parallel, feet lifting up to the ceiling. Again, thinking about keeping that neutral pelvis and neutral spine. Steady flow of breath. I typically will breathe for 1, 2, and then inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, inhale 1, 2. Just as long as you keep a continuous flow of breath and you don't find yourself holding your breath and creating tension in your body. Your breath is so important. I like to say to my students, if you're not breathing, you're dead. Keep breathing, please. And I'm never trying to kill anyone. So I will encourage you to breathe, of course. Good, let's go for one more set. Bring the legs up, and we're going to go into the bicycle. So if this movement feels confusing, I'll talk it through nice and slow. We're going to bend one knee in, extend one out straight, And then one leg is going to reach out, the other knee is going to draw in, just like you're riding a bicycle. You're laying on your back, riding on a bicycle through the clouds. Think nice, long, graceful legs. Think about finishing out the movement, reaching through those toes, pointing through them, and reaching across the room, keeping the movement nice and long, and just enjoy it. Watch those knees as you're going. Think about keeping the legs parallel and make sure that your knees aren't kind of like going off to the side. Keeping those legs parallel. You've got a natural wide turnout and your feet tend to turn out like this, and so do your hips, and this might be more challenging to keep it parallel, but stay focused on what you're doing. It's just like in mat Pilates with our single leg stretch, how we want our knee to be coming straight in and inside of the hip. Now we're going to reverse our bicycle. So don't let that hurt your mind. Most people can just reverse without thinking. We're going to think about pressing this bent leg in, pulling the knee in this way, and just going in the opposite direction. Sometimes our legs and our minds are more cooperative and more coordinated than other days. So we reach out, lift up, and draw in, reversing that motion. And steady flow breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. We'll end today with hip circles. I always include hip circles in my classes. My students love this. It's good to open up the hips and the low back. So if you have any low back problems, usually this feels fantastic. It makes my body feel like I'm setting myself right. So we'll begin with hip circles up. Both legs coming up towards 90 degrees. And we're going to lower down as one steady unit. Open up to the side, nice wide circle. Stretch up, zip up, tall. This is our hip circles down. So with my breathing pattern here, I'm thinking exhaling on the exertion when I press through, and somewhere during my circle I switch to an inhale as I lift up and zip together. This is when our springs are really making their little whale calls. I love the sound of the springboard. Working here, I'm going to make some kind of CD recording. Sounds of the springboard. Sounds like a little whale call. Woo. Woo. Sorry, I'll stop imitating it and let you listen to the sounds of your own springs. Let's take one more in this direction, and then we'll switch directions, go into hip circles up. Open out to the side, zip the legs together, and lift up. Obviously, our legs are working independently. We want to focus and think about them moving as one steady unit and keeping the circles nice and smooth. It's normal in the beginning to kind of have one leg moving faster than the other, and we just need to get in touch and get things even there. It's also normal at the beginning for it to look kind of blocky as you move through, but try to focus on a smooth, even circular motion through the hips. And my breathing pattern here, when I open up and I start pressing down, that's where I start my exhalation as I zip together. I'll inhale as I lift and switch to an exhale as I'm pressing. I'm just focused on nice, even breathing here and on exhaling through the exertion of the movement. That's when my body needs that the most. And zipping up. Let's take 3 more here and then we'll do a little bit of a stretch. And 2. And 1. From here, bend those legs in. I'm going to grab onto my straps and I'm going to lift the palms of my feet up towards the sky into a happy baby. I'm going to think about pulling my knees down towards my mat. Obviously, they're not going to touch my mat. That means that I'd be like pulling my leg out of the socket. But I'm going to think about opening up here And you can take a little rock back and forth if you like, or you can hold it stable and steady right here. Breathing deeply, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And stretching in, you may find with each exhale that you can kind of pull in a little bit more. And now let's take those palms of the feet together. And I'm going to lower them here, and I'm going to pay attention to my pelvis and bring it into a place where I am in a neutral position. So if I form a triangle right here on my hips and my pubic bone, everything's on the same level. So I don't want to be arched up like this. Just going to hold steady right here and feel that stretch. And then let my knees naturally float up into the sides. So you feel stretching and working up these muscles right here. Arms can be up, or you can bring your palms up to the sky. Thinking about an open heart to the world, open palms, open hips, breathing deeply. If this is a lot of stretching sensation, and you may be more up here, this is a lot of stretching sensation. Thinking about releasing and breathing deeper into that area, and mentally surrendering, mentally letting go, and releasing. As you're moving along, stretching is about a little bit more each time and being consistent. Let's take one more deep breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Let's pull the knees together. Release the feet from the straps and lengthen out one at a time. Feel the long length of your body. At this point, you are most likely feeling 3 inches taller as you're reaching out and away. Enjoy that lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the legs, and the evenness that you feel throughout the body. Springboard has a way of making you feel good. And worked and toned and strengthened in an even way through the body, with the core stabilizing all of the movements. All of these movements today, you shouldn't have felt uncomfortable or pressure through the low back. Most of the time, that stance through the low back, if you're having issues there, can be corrected with where your pelvis is. Feel free to send me questions. I hope that you like this live springboard class with me. Thank you for coming and joining me. Let me know if you want to see more just like this.